Welcome everybody to Foxborough. We're so happy to see you all today. I'm Paige Duncan. I'm the acting town manager for the town of Foxborough, and I want to welcome the Lieutenant Governor and Secretary Augustus to town today. And we're here to celebrate a milestone, a big milestone, for a project that has been embraced by Foxborough. Kind of going to focus on Foxborough a second, because I think I really want to point out that this community has embraced this project and has welcomed this project, which you don't see in this day of NIMBYism these days. So really I want to acknowledge the support for the community here for this project. I also need to acknowledge the Commonwealth. When I was looking back, getting ready for today, I know the history of the land, and the project has gone back for years, but for me it started in 2019 with a housing choice grant. So we got funding from the state to design the signal and the sewer for this project, and once we got that, it was a go. And so that without that housing choice grant, we would not be here today. Then we went on, and Greg, I kind of joked that Greg and I, the project got legs. Suddenly we were in business. Then we got some technical support from Mass Development. We went through 2 rounds. Claire O'Neill is here. And that got us over the finish line and found us our development team, who they've been carrying the water for us of late, and we really appreciate that. So, and then we ended up at One Stop MassWorks. So that was another grant from the Commonwealth that really helped us out. So again, it's been a progressive project, and so many people have been involved. And then now here we are today for an exciting announcement. I also should mention Paul Feeney and Rep Barrows, who's presently, I think, on the high seas on a cruise. But they really helped us out. We had a little shortfall for signal because the construction costs were going up. As we were trying to get this project permitted and doing the construction costs, we all know, were just going up exponentially. So how exciting was they stepped in, they got us an earmark, we got Norfolk County money for ARPA, and then we also got some funds from MassDOT. So again, another collaborative effort. So today's a celebration, really. For me, it feels that way. I know for Greg. And in the spirit of collaboration, I just want to celebrate that and say thank you to everybody here. Thank you to our new teammates. And with that, I'm going to turn this speaking over to Lieutenant Governor. I think we all know Lieutenant Governor Kim Driscoll from Salem. The key is she's been in our role. She's been a mayor of a local community, so she gets it. She gets us, and we're really thankful to have her here. So.
Thank you so much, Paige, for all your hard work and for acknowledging the support in the community. I was a mayor in Salem for 16 years. I have the scars on my back from trying to build new housing, but it really does matter in terms of being able to support the community members who are already living here, older adults who want to age in place, young adults who want to be able to, live, rent, buy a home in their hometown. We really are focused on how we can build the type of housing we need across our communities, and we want it to be community-led. This is not a top-down initiative. States don't build housings. We help support it, but housing is built in communities, and it's just a beautiful thing when we can have cities and towns, regular individuals every day serving on boards and commissions who are putting their hand up saying yes to the type of housing they need to support the community members that we all rely on, the places that make our cities and towns great. I think so many of us who are here, as I look around the room, know how exciting the opportunity is to build housing, and also know how hard it can be. It really does. If it takes a village to raise a child, it takes an army to build housing, particularly affordable housing. And so many of you have played a role in this project, but it's also a really important playbook that we hope to expound on going further. If I can make this microphone work. It's an important playbook we hope to expound on going further, using state-owned land, working with housing authorities, collectively with the number of players we have to support the type of housing growth we need, whether it's a quasi like Mass Development, state in terms of MassWorks and other grant opportunities that we're able to provide, and then support from the legislature who are key to making these resources available. This is the second time I've seen Senator Feeney this week, both of which have been around community investments and opportunities to really support a high quality of life, whether it's housing or in the last case it was transportation. All of those, as we know, are inextricably linked. But that work, I hope both the governor and I feel is the most critical work we have to do moving forward, connecting communities with the housing they need. And this is just such a prime example of the way to do that. the bottom line is we don't have enough housing in any of our communities. Not market rate housing, not affordable housing, not housing for seniors. And we're really hopeful that we can lead the way in ensuring that we're building not only the amount of housing we need, but we're doing so in a smart way, that it's connecting with the needs of community members. And that's our goal, and it's one of the reasons that I wanted to make sure I was here today, and just thrilled to announce that just adjacent to us, we've got land that used to be a state-owned hospital, soon be converted into affordable housing for seniors, and it's beautiful. Look at it. I'm reserving my space right now, and that it takes a lot, but it's this last push was $25.35 million in state and federal tax credits and subsidies that's going to help us develop this formerly state-owned property into 141 units dedicated for people over the age of 55 and also folks across income spectrums that we know are really going to need it. And for that, we're grateful to be here, and I think deserves a pretty good round of applause. And it's a collective effort that made that all happen. And we know that's what it's going to take to solve the housing crisis. We've built less housing in the last 2 decades than we built in the decade before. So if we took 20 years worth of the housing production in Massachusetts, it'd be half of what we did in the 10 years prior. And that's why housing's one of the reasons housing is so expensive, and one of the reasons we need to lean in to ensure we're doing everything we can to build the type of housing we need. Just most recently, one of the biggest steps we've taken that we think can help do that is the Affordable Homes Act, a bond bill that has been submitted to the legislature that includes not just resources, but policy shifts, opportunities to work even deeper with communities on building housing on state-owned land, really looking at opportunities, whether it's state-owned or municipally owned, leveraging the good work of housing authorities to ensure that we're creating pathways that hopefully can be streamlined. Right now, as all of you know who have been part of this project, converting state-owned land to another entity can be a little bit of a torturous pathway. We know that building all the resources you need takes time. How do we leverage the cost of land, which is one of the reasons housing is so expensive, to build the type of housing we need, but do it in a shorter timetable? That's what this is all about, this project. That's what some of the work ahead is about. And we know that those types of investments could really make a meaningful difference in communities, offering new growth, offering opportunities for places for people to live who we rely on every day. One of the first acts that Governor Healy and I took in the administration, it's hard to believe it's been a year, by the way. It's December 14th. I don't know where the time went. It really flew by. I just mentioned to somebody, it's going to be a Christmas miracle if there are actually presents under the tree for my kids this year. But one of the first initiatives we took was to recognize that we need to have a cabinet focused on housing, that the needs were so great that we needed to make sure we were bringing to bear a collection of people who could get up every single day and figure out how are we going to work with communities, how are we going to build the toolkit, how are we going to strengthen our efforts in a state that frankly does a lot for housing. We own the most state-owned housing of any state in the country, 44,000 units, many of which are in housing authorities. The majority of those are serving seniors and older adults. But as we're living longer, hooray, we know we don't have the type of housing we need, and we know we need to leverage all of those tools. So forming a new cabinet by the name of Housing and Livable Communities was one of the first initiatives. We were grateful to have the support of the legislature in that work. And then we needed to find a cabinet secretary who would have the right combination of experience and get stuff done attitude to move a strong housing agenda forward. And we're so grateful that we not only have a Housing and Livable Communities cabinet, and I want to focus on livable communities. This isn't build anything anywhere, no matter what it looks like, no matter how tall it is. It really is designed, how do we work with communities to identify the locations? How do we think about transit as a way to build more transit-oriented development? Where can we put more density? How can we make sure it looks good and it's resilient, it's going to serve us well for generations to come? How can we leverage the assets we already have? We couldn't have found a better person to head up our Housing and Livable Communities cabinet than Secretary Ed Augustus. Ed comes from local government. He was a city manager in Worcester, our second largest city in Massachusetts, who the Champagne Cork is off Worcester, if you haven't been there, largely due to development of housing and opportunities to really reinvest in communities. Ed has built a fabulous team that's really helping us make sure we're thinking about how we can best support the growth of housing in communities, but how we, as we like to say, we need it more and we need it faster. And with that, it's my pleasure to introduce Secretary Ed Augustus.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. I'm going to give it a try without the mic. Tell me if you can't hear me.
Can you hear in the back?
I appreciate those kind words, but it's always scary when you work for somebody who knows 10 times more than you do. And that's how I feel with the Lieutenant Governor. It is so exciting to be here today, and a real big shout out to the town of Foxborough for your leadership. It's almost like conducting an orchestra. You need to know when to bring in the wind section, you need to know when to bring in the percussion, and that's really the challenge with putting these deals together, because you've got to figure out all of the state programs and sequence them in a way that makes sense, that works for the project. Work with all of the local stakeholder groups, whether it be the select board, or in this case the housing authority, and all of the other stakeholders, the abutters, making sure that everybody's on the same page and shares the vision and moving that forward. So a lot of credit to the town of Foxborough for putting that all together. And I should mention that Foxborough is really doing a lot around affordable housing. You're already beyond your 10% that's required, and yet you know that that is just an arbitrary number, that the real needs are significantly more than that, and that's why you tackled this particular project. And so we need more communities to kind of take note of what Foxborough is doing and really pushing the envelope. We're excited to be here today. I want to give a shout out to Kate Racer and all of our at Housing and Livable Communities, who really work with developers, work with communities, and put together the combination of tax credits and other subsidies, often working with our quasis, Mass Housing, Mass Development, CDAC, Roger's here from CDAC, Mass Housing Partnership. It really is complex to put these financing deals together, and Kate's a master at that. I also want to give a shout out to the Affordable Housing Services Collaborative, which we'll hear from in a minute, Peabody Properties, especially Betsy Collins, Onyx, for their role in this project. Again, bringing all the developers together and complementing each other in exercising this project. And the Lieutenant Governor alluded to it, but I think it's important to mention the Affordable Homes Act is going to give us the tools that we need to have dozens and hundreds more announcements like this all across Massachusetts, which is really what it's going to take to move the needle on housing production and really close the gap on the 200,000 units that we need to be creating in the next 10 years to take some of the pressure off the housing crisis in Massachusetts. We know how difficult it is for families to stay in the communities that they grew up in, where they want to age in place. This project is going to allow folks from Foxborough to do that, to stay here in an affordable, healthy, dignified home in a community that all of their network, all of their relationships are. We need more projects like this around Massachusetts. And the Affordable Homes Act, which is a $4.1 billion initiative, reauthorizing a number of existing programs, creating many new programs, as well as 28 different policy changes combined, we believe is the most consequential piece of housing legislation since 40B was passed 50 years ago. We need it. Luckily, we've got great friends in the legislature like Senator Feeney, who we were just in Attleboro a couple of hours ago looking at some projects there, and a new homeless shelter that's being built there. And that's another symptom of the housing crisis. We have more and more people becoming homeless. And we obviously want to make sure we have shelter, which is a transition period, but we need housing. Ultimately, that is the solution to dealing with the homelessness crisis. Have more housing that's affordable for people in every stage of their life. And so we appreciate allies like Senator Feeney as we move this bill through the legislative process and get more tools in our toolbox to accelerate housing production. So when the governor, lieutenant governor gave us the charge, come up with a plan, come up with ideas, they specifically said we don't want incrementalism, we don't want nibbling on the edges, we want big, we want bold, we want audacious, because that's what the crisis demands. And I think that's what the governor, lieutenant governor delivered on as they filed that legislation, and so we're looking forward to the fruits of that. Now, Greg is the head of the Foxborough Housing Authority, again, a critical partner in this whole effort, and is going to be the landlord of this great new project when it's done. Greg Spear, the head of the
hopefully that works. I'll give it a try. I can't speak. I just had surgery 10 days ago, so I need the mic. But good afternoon, and thank you for the kind words. The Foxborough Housing Authority has been working on this development with the assistance of Representative Jay Barrow and John Mitchellmore, our past chair, since 2011. That's when we found out about the land. John asked me, because I have a background, I'm a real estate developer and local builder, to get on the board and see if we can see this thing through. When he asked me that, I honestly didn't think this would ever happen. 2 years ago, didn't think it was happening. So in 2017, DCAM transferred the property to Foxborough Housing Authority to be used specifically for affordable housing. Foxborough Housing Authority. All right, let's try that. 2017, DCAM transferred the property to the Housing Authority to have it used for affordable housing. Foxborough Housing Authority is eager to have this opportunity to develop needed affordable housing in the town of Foxborough. This became a collaboration of so many government agencies, local boards, and committees to see that the property would be developed for affordable housing. To now have a team with a great developer to build 200 units of affordable senior housing is an outstanding opportunity for the development to finally become a reality. Truly, this is an example of how government should work. Maybe a little quicker, but at least we're getting it done. A special thanks goes to Paige Duncan, who prior to being acting town manager, was in charge of the planning department, who assisted FHA in obtaining so many government grants. The list goes on. If it wasn't for her, if it wasn't, all right, I'm going to try doing it without it.
All right, you got it.
There we go. Truly an example of how government should work. A special thank you to Paige, who assisted FHA in obtaining so many government programs. If it wasn't for her commitment working with the development team at FHA, we wouldn't be this far along in our process. Last check, the state waiting list is over 5,500 elderly and non-elderly disabled that this development might become their new home. 195 of those on the list are Foxborough residents, and we've negotiated to have 7% local preference for first-time rentals is one of our goals. The need is so great for affordable housing, not just in Foxborough, but our entire state, as their commitment is. Choosing the developer led by Mike Mateos, Betsy Collins as the Affordable Housing Collaborative, along with the Onyx Group, has been the right decision for FHA in the town. We have Lieutenant Governor Driscoll and Secretary Augustus here today, as well as Senator Feeney. All the politicians, town officials here today to make this announcement of this special event. We truly appreciate them taking time to come to Foxborough to make this announcement. So excited to have a shovel-ready project starting in 2024, a groundbreaking. As I said from the beginning, and as Paige and I, we always talk about, the stars and moon have aligned for us for this development. Honestly, it's been amazing. So we can't ask for anything more. We really appreciate everybody coming here. And at this time, I'd like to introduce Mike Mateos, President and Executive Director of Affordable Housing Collaborative, to the board. Thank you.
All right, I'll try to speak up as well. Hi, I'm Mike Mateos, Executive Director of Affordable Housing Services Collaborative. And I am honored to be here today with my development partners from PB Properties, Melissa Fish-Trade and Betsy Collins from PB Properties, as well as Sean Desmont from the Onyx Group. We wanted to just thank everyone, and I'll start with the Housing Authority. Greg Spear and the entire board, the board members and the staff of the Housing Authority have been fantastic. Obviously, Greg, your leadership is what really got this off the ground. So thank you. And thank you to all of the town of Dartmouth. I'm sorry, town of Dartmouth. That's where I live. Town of Foxborough. I'm used to saying that because I'm on the Housing Authority in my hometown. The town of Foxborough and all the department heads that we've had the opportunity to work with over the last year and a half have been fantastic. Especially Paige, Duncan, who you heard from. She's amazing. She can really move the ball down the field like nobody. I think the Patriots should actually Paige to help them if there's an opening. And then the entire team at EOHLC, Secretary Augustus and legendary King Racer, and everyone who we get to work with over there. We just, your guidance and support is unbelievable, and we couldn't do it obviously without you. All of our investors and our lenders that have been with us from the beginning, and we've worked with in other projects that are here today. Citizens Bank, Gene Clark is here today. Our permanent lender is Mass Housing Partnership. Amanda Rowe is here. Our syndicator, Rob Charest from Boston Financial. CDAC, Bettina CDAC, I saw Roger and Will are here. Thank you so much. And Michelle, well, thank you. And Sagara, thank you so much for the trust. We worked so much with you guys. I apologize if I missed anyone just now. My mind is racing. I'd also like to thank our legal team. I see Julie Hancock-Standy here, Jim Valley from Nixon Peabody, and our local counsel, Frank Spillane. I'm not sure if he was able to come today, but he was fantastic, helping us navigate seamlessly through the 40B process, which I think is a state record. We opened the permit in February, we closed it in April. We couldn't have done it without Barney, who was the chairman of the ZBA, so thank you so much, Barney, for your support. And I'd also like to extend a thank you to the state delegations, and thank you to Senator Beatty and Representative Jay Barrows, who couldn't be here. And co-chairman Housing Jim Macero, who we've met with and talked about this project too. So we've had so much support from so many people, and it goes back to what was already been said, which is we all know under this tent how hard affordable housing is to build. And it's like a puzzle with a million pieces. There's so many people to work on it together. And we're just so grateful and thankful. We're grateful for the first class. We're grateful for the first class team of professionals that we assembled. They're the contractors, the construction, the business, and their teams that are there. UCL architects, who also, I apologize, I don't know. Architects. Oh, there we go. UTL Architects, who designed a beautiful, efficient, passive house, certifiable buildings that we're going to have, and our landscape architect and our civil engineers at Weston Sampson. Thank you. Jonathan Law's here today. Thank you, Jonathan. Just thank you to the whole team, because we couldn't do this without you, and there's still a lot of work left to do. This is a great milestone, no doubt, and we're excited, but we look forward to working with each and every single one of you to get to that next step, which is a financial closing, hopefully in the next 3 months, so we can start to build what we're all here to achieve, which is to increase the supply of affordable housing for the town of Foxborough and for the Commonwealth of Mass. I hope you can all stay for refreshments. We have a lot of them after the program is completed. And with that, it's my honor to introduce one of our development partners, who's a true advocate for the advancement of affordable housing in Massachusetts, Sean Smart.
Thank you, Mike. Good afternoon. My name is Chanda Smart, and I'm the CEO of the Onyx Group Development Company. And on behalf of my partner, Chaplain Nationalist Army, I would like to thank the Lieutenant Governor Driscoll for being here today. The Wall Street Joint Venture is a partnership that was created in part because our companies had similar values, such as affordable housing should not be synonymous with poverty. But the other most important aspect about this partnership is empowerment. With the empowerment of Melissa Fish Crane, Peabody Properties, the Onyx Group is the first Black woman-owned and operated development company in Massachusetts to develop affordable housing in Foxborough. This project is also the result of a tremendous amount of hard work, particularly by the town of Foxborough. Greg Spear and Paige Duncan and their teams, as well as the result of everyone working together as a team on the federal, state, and local government, our investors, community, and our project team members on UTIL, Weston and Sampson, and NEI. Housing is empowering. No matter our age, it is a comfort not to worry about whether we can afford a basic need such as housing. In the development of housing, our seniors are often forgot about. And being raised by my great-grandmother, I know how unconventional life can be. Senior housing for the town of Foxborough means that seniors who worked and raised their families here in Foxborough still have the opportunity to remain here. The Wall Street development is also a model for other communities across Massachusetts. It's an example of 3 key principles. We can build more affordable housing, we can build housing that is energy efficient and climate responsible, and can utilize former state-owned land for housing. I know these 3 principles are important priorities of the Healy-Driscoll administration. And since day one, Governor Healy and Lieutenant Governor Driscoll have made affordable housing their top priority and are keeping their word. They have traveled across the state to hear from stakeholders about the need for affordable housing, convene working groups, and just a few weeks ago filed a bold, comprehensive legislation, the Affordable Homes Act, to kickstart housing development across our state. They understand, and I want to emphasize, they understand the need to increase the supply of housing in order to make the cost of housing more affordable for our residents. I am beyond thankful and grateful for an administration that empowers us and continues to demonstrate their commitment to Massachusetts. I am thrilled that the Lieutenant Governor and Secretary are here in Foxborough today, and am beyond honored to be a part of this effort. Thank you. I would like to now turn it over to Lieutenant Governor Driscoll. Thank you.
Again, we're so thrilled to be here in Foxborough, a community that certainly recognizes the value of investments like this. And you heard about all the partnerships and the players. You know, when you're building affordable housing, it does take an all-hands-on-deck approach, and we're so thrilled to be here to be able to support it. Congratulations again. I think we're available to take some questions on topic if there's members of the media who have any. If not, we're going to eat and drink.